The downfall of Conor McGregor is a brand new video everybody's watching.
Conor McGregor is not...
The downfall of Conor McGregor, brand new viral video. To me, I gotta say that I have a very deep relationship to Conor McGregor, very deep, because I used to be a massive fan. I used to love Conor McGregor. I would even go as far as saying Conor McGregor has influenced me to become a streamer. I remember it was around 2016. I didn't feel very strong in life. I didn't feel very good, ginger and all, right? And then Conor McGregor came, and no one in chat can deny. When Conor McGregor started, it was insane. Dude, what this guy made in the beginning of his career was unbelievable. And he gave me so much confidence. And especially if you saw the first years of my stream, I was trying to be the Conor McGregor of Twitch, calling everyone out, but backing it up. My whole career is based on this a bit. And he gave me this feeling of, right, stop. Just beat everyone, beat all your enemies. That's what I did in Hoi 4. That's why I'm here today. But then obviously the downfall came. And then he became... And then, bro, what happened then is just so sad. One of the biggest downfalls I've ever seen. What a disgrace he has become. But it was a crazy ride. What he achieved was unbelievable.
Not even in the top 10.
But you have a similar downfall? I will never cheat on my wife. I will never take drugs. I'm never gonna hit an old man in the face. I think I'm gonna be fine.
And greatest UFC fighters of all time. But he is #1 as far as overall impact on the sport of mixed martial arts. He was the first fighter in history to hold 2 UFC championships in 2 different...
What a night. I remember. I was on the beach in Sanya, South China, and I saw the fight, Eddie Alvarez versus Conor McGregor. And that was one of the craziest moments I've ever seen. That was insane, man, what happened there. Did you guys see that? Do you guys even know what that is? Do you guys even know what's going on right now on this stream? What is happening? Why is he not talking about socialism?
Divisions. The top 7 most watched UFC fights of all time are his last 7 fights. And he is the undisputed, undefeated king of trash talk.
Who do you think would give you the heart?
The problem is his hype was gone. He was a great trash talker, and people loved it. But then later on, his trash talk became super weak. It wasn't up to date anymore.
Hardest fight out of anybody on stage.
Right here, the hardest hitting 145.
Who the fuck is that guy?
145 right here. This guy TKOs people. When I knock people out, they don't move. They're not.
Who the fuck is that guy? You know damn well where I am.
If Conor McGregor walked away from the fight game at his peak, we would remember him as the ultimate rags to riches.
Yeah. If he would have retired, he would have been one of the biggest legends ever, man.
Success story. An Irishman who took over the world with nothing but his fists, his words, and his loyal partner by his side.
Loyal partner, man. Bro, cheated on her like 10 times already.
But he destroyed that. His overinflated ego, money over everything attitude.
And in a weird way, I really mean this. This is kind of deep to me. Maybe you guys don't really care about this segment right now. But this is very important to me because Conor McGregor was a massive influence to my life. And even in his downfall, Conor McGregor remained a teacher to me because Conor McGregor has showed me how to not do it. Cheating, raping, drug abusing, etc. It's not good to do that, right? It's not very nice. And the guy destroyed his entire fucking legacy. And that's like his final lection to me. Like, hey, don't be like me, man.
And addiction to drugs and alcohol became a toxic recipe for disaster. This led to an endless cycle of shameful behavior, a string of humiliating losses, and multiple sexual assault allegations with one ending in a guilty verdict. Conor McGregor has truly lived up to his nickname, the Notorious, which means to be well known for something bad. Today we are going to deep dive into the rise, fall, and future of Conor McGregor, the man who seemingly lost the biggest fight of his life, the fight against himself. Becoming a world...
He's actually really worth a movie. You could make a great movie about him. But you gotta be honest, I don't know if there's any MMA fans in chat, his rise was unbelievable. I think I will never see anything like it ever again. Like a Mike Tyson, dude. What he did in the beginning was unbelievable.
Champion fighter was somewhat of a destiny for Conor McGregor, who grew up on the south side of Dublin,
and back then
Ireland.
A great influence for
Ireland has a rich
kids.
history of fighters from the ancient Celts to modern-day boxing champions. However, the pursuit of being a world-class fighter requires relentless training and money.
He brought a lot of people to UFC. I think even I started combat sambo because of him.
Teenage McGregor worked 9 to 5 as a plumbing apprentice, a job that he hated and took most of his time away from the gym training with John Kavanagh, until one day he decided to quit the job and pursue his dream full time.
And pursue this dream of becoming a world champion in mixed martial arts, and that's what I did. I drove home. When I got home, my mother and father said, how come you're not still at work? And I said, I'm never going to go back to that site another day in my life. And then all hell broke loose, but
This was a risky move, but his coaches and his family realized Conor was destined for greatness on February 17th, 2007, where at the age of 18, McGregor made his mixed martial arts debut in an amateur fight against Kieran Campbell. After destroying his opponent via TKO in the first round, he turned pro and was signed by the Irish Cage of Truth promotion. Conor was more...
He went pro after one fight. I'm a little bit into this now with the local fight club in Leipzig, where I listen to them and I ask questions. If you ever have a professional MMA fight, you can never ever have an amateur fight again. So it's very important that if you do amateur MMA, you be very careful. Because the moment you decide to go professional, you can never go back to amateur. You have to really think about that. So doing it after one fight is pretty crazy.
Motivated than ever, and nothing could distract him on this path to glory, besides one young woman named Dee Devlin, who would soon become the foundation he didn't realize he needed.
But we met at a friend's party like way back, and then the usual social media, a little bit of a like here and a like there, and then a message, and the new age way of meeting.
Which social media at the time?
Vivo. Yeah.
Before the world was cheering Conor's name, before he was a multi-millionaire, Dee Devlin was doing everything she could to support his dream.
He's never gonna lose, you know, in my eyes anyway. Definitely not. Yeah. Conor, don't.
It's nice to have a girl like that, though. When you have a girl, man, that's with you through thick and thin, a girl that you go through everything with, man, that is a very special thing. Which is why it's even more despicable that he will cheat on her and sexual harass other women. That is the biggest fucking disgrace. You have such a great woman next to you, and you have to fuck it up.
Training up in
So sad.
Rathcoole till about 10. When SPG was up in Rathcoole, we used to go till about 10. We just drive home, listen to music, and Conor be saying, look, one day, yeah, one day, and here we are.
Her loyalty to him did not go unnoticed.
And that's always when I remember what Khabib Nurmagomedov said, a beautiful quote. He said, money doesn't change you, money shows who you really are, man. I always remember that one.
And he made it his mission to make sure she was taken care of.
good. That's a good look. My girlfriend has been there from the start. She's helped me throughout this career. If it wasn't for her, I probably wouldn't be where I am today. So definitely I look to spoil her. She does not work anymore. I essentially hired her. That to me was a special thing to be able to do. My girlfriend worked very hard throughout the years coming up and stuck by me when essentially I had absolutely nothing. I only had a dream that I was telling her.
And maybe, I don't want to sound corny, but maybe now you know why in my early career of a streamer, I was very connected to him. I was a fucking nothing with nobody, and this guy was showing me like, dude, just fucking take it, man. Just take it, man, and make your family happy, man. I was very influenced by him.
So for me to be able to take her out of work and
Conor McGregor taught me this one thing that I always loved. He taught me that thing, which I think genuinely built my stream. The reason I'm here today, it's this talk shit, but back it up. That was TommyKay in his first years. We went into Hoi 4 games, right? All these old videos with like 1 million views. It was like, who are you? Fuck you, Tommy. Like, fuck, I'm gonna fuck all of you. What are you gonna do about it? Huh? Fuck you. But then I backed it up. I beat all their asses, man. That's how this whole Hoi 4 career was made.
And give her everything she
and it's kind of coming from him.
Take her to see to travel the world with her. That fills me with pride, so it keeps me going.
With Dee by his side and a small circle of highly skilled coaches and trainers, he would go on a 8-fight winning streak from 2011 to 2012. Conor won the Cage Warriors featherweight and lightweight championships, making him a 2-division champ in the promotion. As you can imagine, Conor felt unstoppable.
Congrats, you won against 14-year-olds in online games. First of all, most of these enemies back then were grown-ass men, and yes, I beat them and built a great financial situation for me and my family. What are you trying to fucking hit me with here, bro? That was weak.
No matter what people say, people can put me in a room, people can throw bricks at me and call me every name under the sun. I'd still walk out there thinking I'm the Don One, you know what I mean? Thinking I'm the number one. And that's the way I just feel. I don't give a f about nothing else, you know what I mean?
However, Conor did not get the chance to defend his 2 titles because he just earned himself a contract with the #1 combat sports
First fight, Marcus Brimage. I remember everything.
In the world, the UFC, and it only took 1 minute and 7 seconds to defeat his first opponent, Marcus Brimage.
Thank you very much. David
60 G's, baby!
The meteoric rise of McGregor had officially begun. Fight fans all around the world were shocked with their first impression of the young scrapper.
It was crazy,
but they loved
man.
it. Specifically the Irish UFC fans. Ireland was more than just Conor's birthplace, it was his identity, and he vowed to honor the fighting Irish legacy. And president of the UFC, Dana White, had dollar signs in his eyes. He could see Conor's potential star power.
Kid is totally relaxed. He's a beast. I'm impressed. Dresses well. Handsome kid. Seems pretty.
See what they did to John Jones? It's crazy how I'm a person that's very interested in extraordinary people that achieve crazy things. But it's very interesting that people that reach crazy heights are always somewhat fucked up people. The best fighter ever in the human race is probably John Jones, right? Who literally was a drug-addicted cheater that drove over a pregnant lady, right? Like, that's the best fighter we have. Conor McGregor, the best fighting entertainer, completely insane in the head, right? It's like, if you want to reach levels like this, you must be a bit fucked in the head, man. Look at the biggest streamers in the world, right? You gotta be a bit fucked in the head to reach levels like this. That pregnant woman had it coming.
Smart.
Conor quickly started steamrolling through the featherweight division. His fight style at this point is what made
That's a German, Dennis Siever. That's a German.
him so lethal, and abandoning this would ultimately lead to his demise. Most people remember him for his lethal left-hand knockout power, but in the beginning, he relied on it less. His stance was wide and karate-like, complemented by unorthodox movement, constantly bouncing in and out of range, using lateral movements to create angles for his strikes. He remained light on his feet, which allowed him to quickly deliver spinning back kicks and front snap kicks to the body. As if that wasn't scary enough, he could read his opponents while remaining calm, seemingly unfazed while standing toe-to-toe with another warrior. But that calm and collected confidence quickly turned into cockiness, specifically around the build-up for his 2014 fight against Dustin Poirier.
His weakness is obviously his chin. Don't get me wrong, I like the kid. He's a quiet little hillbilly from the back ass of nowhere. You know,
well, he would get calmer later.
Nothing against the guy, you know what I mean? I'm sure he grew up in a circus or a fair, or, you know, he's a nice little kid. Cletus, or, you know, his cousin's probably named Cletus or something. He's a nice kid. His chin is going to be cracked, and it's going to be cracked early. Every single one in my way is in trouble here. So this is just the next step. Dustin's little pea head is going to get removed. It's going to get put into my collection, and I'm going to get on my way to the goal.
The thing that made Conor's trash talk so special was
he backed it up.
That he backed it up. He invented the mystic.
That's something I've never really seen, and that was really my early streaming career. This talk shit and then back it up. I fucking love that. I love when people do that.
Mac prediction.
So many people talk shit and never. That's my issue with the Hoi4 community. I've said that for years. When I go to these multiplayer games, there's all these shit talkers, man. Starting with like a Dankus to all these kids in these Discords, man, always talking shit. Boomer, but they never back it up. Never anything special, never any skillful moves, man. No one backs anything up anymore in Hoi4, man. That's the fucking weakness of Hoi4.
Where he would describe the outcome before each match. He told the world that Chad Mendes was too small, and that he would have a few good scrambles, but then Conor would pick him apart, and ultimately become the interim featherweight champion. And he did just that. He also received $3,285,000 for his win over Mendes, solidifying a true rags to riches story.
When you signed to fight me, it's a celebration. You ring back home, you ring your wife. Baby, we done it. We're rich, baby. Conor McGregor made us rich. Break out the red panties. We're rich.
The real voice, by the way.
Rich, baby. So don't say you would not take that fight, because you would take that fight like everyone else up here would take the fight against me if it was offered, regardless of belts or any of that shit. I'm the money fight in the male shit at all weight divisions, so f*** everybody else up here.
But even though the belt was wrapped around his waist, it had an asterisk next to it, as he was technically the interim champ. So his real undisputed chance at glory...
To explain that to my dear viewers here, I know it's a weird segment. Interim belt means you're the champion, but you're not. It means the real champion is like busy, so you get like a fake belt.
Would be against Jose Aldo. The UFC 194 press conference was held in Ireland, where not a single person was rooting for Jose.
When I got here, it was raining, but I brought the sun with me.
That was legendary, man. That was legendary. I feel like I will never see something like this in my life again.
Aldo was clearly fighting a different beast. He had never felt this kind of pressure. Conor got into Aldo's head so badly before the fight that he was able to
look at the... I felt when we stared down, I felt his right hand was twitching a little bit, which was a subtle tell for me. He's He is.
And he was right. He was right, man. It's so crazy.
Unload that right hand, but I feel that could be a downfall for him if he lets that right hand go.
Chat, he's speeding up the videos so the algorithm doesn't deem sacred.
I will not be there.
Conor practiced.
Yeah, turn off sub only, please.
His step back left hand counterpunch to Jose Aldo's right hand, and that's exactly what happened in the real fight.
That was so
in
crazy,
just 13 seconds.
The guy on the left was champion for 10 years, man, and then he gets clipped in 13 seconds.
Jose threw a
That was
right,
so
McGregor
insane.
stepped back and countered with his left and knocked out Jose Aldo, officially making him the UFC featherweight
That
champion.
was insane,
The
dude.
craziest part about this win is that Jose Aldo was undefeated for nearly 7 years straight at this point, successfully defending his title 9 times, only to be made looking like an amateur against McGregor. Conor earned the respect of MMA fans. For those that thought he was all talk, his win against Aldo made it difficult for anyone to argue against him being a world-class fighter. The fact that he was actually lethal, combined with his electricity on the microphone, brought millions of new UFC fans in. His fight against Mendes and Aldo each secured over 1 million pay-per-view buys, earning the UFC about $60 million per fight. But even though he was praised as unstoppable by his fans, some top fighters saw him as a clown, undeserving.
The problem with Nate Diaz is he's too dumb to get knocked out. You hit Nate Diaz in the head and he's like, what the fuck, motherfucker, I don't care. You can't knock him out.
How do you feel about
There's nothing in there.
Conor McGregor, you're taking everything I work for, man.
I'm so happy I was part of that era, that I saw all of this live.
Many fans reminisce on Conor's beef with Nate Diaz as peak entertainment, both inside the
was good
octagon
shit,
and
man.
out. Their trash talk moments were iconic due to Nate's reputation as a brute street fighter holding on to his last few brain cells, and Conor firing off razor-sharp, witty clapbacks.
To talk about money, because we are the business network and the business of the U.S. and all that
I'll take
sort of
over
stuff.
from here, Nate. You can bounce.
But they made a great career, man. They
Take
made a lot
a
of money.
coffee break, Nate. And by coffee break, I mean bring me my coffee.
No. They want you to give us a quick count to 10, both of you gentlemen, if you don't mind, just if you wouldn't mind counting to 10.
Nate can only count the 5. I've seen this so many
Nate was
times,
immune
man.
to Conor's mind games, mostly because he didn't understand them, and that showed in their battle at UFC 196, where the two put on an absolute
That was
brawl before
crazy,
Diaz
man.
shocked the
I was so shocked. I literally cringed. When Conor lost, man, that fucking scared. I was like legit sad.
world, submitting Conor with a rear naked choke and bringing his momentum to a screeching halt. UFC 196 was the most successful pay-per-view in promotional history at that point, securing 1.32 million buys, which meant that Conor had helped build the UFC to its highest level.
I was a big glazer of Conor McGregor. I was a big simp, but honestly, I think he didn't win the second fight. I don't know, man.
Only to
I don't know.
lose at the top of the mountain, but Conor was the UFC's golden boy, and the promotion seemed to make business decisions that were in his best interest. Within 2 days of losing, the rematch was set up, and 6 months later, McGregor would get a chance to re-establish himself as the unstoppable
He was a role model for
Irish
kids in Ireland,
beast.
but he pissed it all away.
I'm ready for whatever he has to bring.
I'm gonna do nothing.
Your whole team. Little crackhead ass. You'll do nothing. You'll do nothing. Shut your fucking mouth, you'll do nothing. You'll do
Conor!
nothing.
Don't throw that bottle, Conor!
Get the fuck out of here! Fuck you.
Conor being the underdog built more hype than ever seen before in the UFC. Droves of new
That guy
fight
made
fans
so much.
started pouring
Dude,
in.
how much?
and
How
the
many
event broke
millions of dollars, maybe even billions at that point, are involved because of one guy.
the record they just set, making UFC 202 the highest selling pay-per-view with 1.65 million
Jesus,
buys. It is still the second highest selling event they have ever done.
Wow.
The fight was a vicious blow-for-blow bloodbath. Conor still had never been knocked down in his entire career, proving that he didn't just deliver damage, he could take it too. The fight came down to a judge's decision, and many still debate that Nate actually won, but Conor was awarded the victory.
The fact is, if there was one more round, Conor would have been dead. Joe Rogan said a beautiful thing one day. If every fight is forever long, Nate Diaz wins every single fight.
Successfully redeeming himself at the peak of the UFC mountain.
You have this key. Give us your surprise, surprise, motherfucker. The king is back.
Conor had even more negotiating power. The UFC was at his fingertips. Instead of going back down to featherweight to defend his belt, he demanded a
That
title
was
shot
so
against
crazy.
Eddie.
That was the craziest, next to Khabib, but that was insane. I remember I was in Sanya in South China with my French girlfriend. And she said, let's go to the beach. And I'm like, I can't. And the girl went to the beach alone, and I was sitting in the hotel room watching this.
Alvarez in the lightweight
so
division,
it was
where
so
a
surreal.
win would make him the first fighter in history to hold 2 championship belts at the same time. The fight was made quickly, scheduled less than 3 months after his win over Diaz, again proving the UFC was prioritizing his interests. And during the build-up for this fight, Eddie made a crucial mistake, trying to go back and forth with Conor on the mic.
I feel Eddie. I've nothing to careful. Be careful. I've nothing against Edward. Oh what? Oh what? Careful. What you gonna do? You gonna do something over there? Be careful. Shut your mouth. I run New York. I run this whole.
You can't deny it was entertaining as fuck.
His question is, why you talking?
And to be honest, I'm a big UFC fan, but they don't have this anymore. I love the UFC, I'm a fan, but the peak is over, man. That was the peak.
They're talking. Say it like it is. You're blessed. You're blessed that I chose you. You're blessed that I chose the woman.
Yeah, Conor never went to Joe Rogan,
Your
huh?
last next.
No, I came for an apology from him. I want an apology for saying my wife and kids. Suck these big artists.
This was trash-talking Conor at his peak,
Topuua isn't even
funny,
close, man.
exciting,
Not even
unpredictable,
close.
and still capable of backing up his words.
Don't give up what Eddie says. The Irish are back. We've taken back control of New York City. I run New York City. I'm a fucking pimp. Rocking Gucci Mick. And
Without me, this whole ship sinks. I remember I was in my first year, and I would always say, without me, Paradox is nothing.
They practically
And now I'm just an old man who's fucking tired all the time.
sold out Madison Square Garden just to do the weigh-in. The magnitude of Conor McGregor's fan base was unprecedented, and surely anyone else would implode with nervousness. But on the historic night of UFC 205, Conor looked as relaxed and focused as
That
ever,
was
knocking down Eddie
crazy.
3 times in the first round, and then ultimately getting the TKO finish in round
That was
2
crazy.
to
And then
become
the
the
best
first
interview, man.
champ in UFC history.
I've spent a lot of time, Joe,
Dude, that-
slating everybody.
That will forever be the craziest Octagon interview ever. That will be rank 1 forever, guaranteed.
The company. Backstage, I'm starting fights off everybody. I've ridiculed everyone on the roster. I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody.
The fucking timing that the second belt arrives, man.
That's what I dreamed into reality. Oh, that looks good.
And I remember this. I remember when he said that. This is what I dreamt into reality. And I was a streamer of like 10 viewers back then. And I remember when my dream was, right, to make it in life, to be a streamer. And I remember when he said that, I was like, bro, I gotta stream 16 hours a day, man. I gotta put this dream into reality.
That looks
This moment, raising the 2 belts, was without question the peak of Conor McGregor. Sure, he made enemies with his relentless trash talk, cocky demeanor, and favoritism within the UFC, but his impact on mixed martial arts positively affected everyone. More exposure, more fans pouring in, which led to more money and more business opportunities. Some loved him, some loved to hate him, but you had to respect him. But that respect was about to slowly diminish.
I'm gonna smash your boy.
Leading to
Remember
the
this.
demise of one of the most
Alhamdulillah. I'm
electrifying
gonna smash your
entertainers in
boy.
sports
I hated Khabib. I was dumb. I was like, fuck Khabib. I hope he loses, man. Now I love Khabib, man. What a great role model.
history. For the first time in his career, McGregor started to slow down, and it made sense. He took no breaks on his ascent to the top, and he was expecting a baby with his unwavering girlfriend Dee. But since he refused to defend the featherweight belt that he won back in 2015, he was forced to vacate his title, ending his time as the 2-division champion. His agent said, no matter what happens, nobody will ever be able to take those belts away from him. Nobody has beat him for those belts. So the way I look at it is, whatever business decision Conor decides to make, it's a smart
Well,
one.
he did.
It became
He made a
abundantly
very good
clear
decision.
that smart business decisions were Conor's top priority. No true champion would just let their title be stripped from them, but Conor was made an offer he simply could not refuse. An exhibition fight against the undefeated boxing world.
$100 million he got for that. Imagine that. You're boxing Floyd Mayweather and you make $100 million.
Champion Floyd Mayweather. One singular bout that was set to make him more money than his entire UFC career combined. From the very beginning, real fight fans looked at the McGregor vs. Mayweather bout as a cash grab. Floyd was a retired 40-year-old and Conor was not a boxer.
I never knew much about boxing, but it was very impressive how a real boxer like Floyd is crushing someone like Conor. Like, it's not even close.
It was a win-win situation for McGregor. Either he knocks out Floyd and gives the undefeated legend his first loss, or Conor loses and
I think that Floyd knew this is easy peasy, man. People don't give Floyd the respect he deserves. Floyd Mayweather might be one of, if not the best boxer of all times. I think he has 50-0, 50-0. Dude, Floyd crushes anyone in MMA in a second, dude.
Then everyone says, he's not a boxer. The build-up was one of the most over-the-top and chaotic promotional tours in combat sports history, with 4 different...
He invented this shoulder roll thing. I'm not that really into boxing, but he invented the shoulder roll thing, where all your punches go over the shoulder.
Massive press conferences where the two did these long, drawn-out speeches and stood toe-to-toe, seemingly pretending to hate each other. It felt way less genuine in person.
It was so cool how Floyd, he lived in a strip club. He didn't prepare for the fight. He says, I'm gonna live inside a strip club to show how easy it is.
Than any beef we have seen Conor in before. It was mildly entertaining, but mostly awkward and
it was very
exhaustive.
cringe. It was very cringe. It was very cringe.
Carrying a school bag on stage. What are you doing with a school bag on stage? You can't even read. The f***ing fans can't fight for you.
This is so cringe, man.
40-year-old man. What the f***? He was wearing high heels yesterday.
Despite this being a money play, Conor did take his training seriously, and he did show some impressive boxing prowess against a legend. But realistically, he had no chance in lasting 12 rounds in a different sport, and he was defeated via TKO in the 10th round. Conor never looked happier to lose a fight. That's because he knew he just made history again. But
he just made 100 million, bro.
This time, he was set for life. This was the second highest selling pay-per-view in history, with 4.3 million bucks.
Mayweather Pacquiao was rank 1. This is just boxing, or? Oh, it's also UFC. De La Hoya versus Mayweather. Mayweather versus Canelo. Man, Floyd Mayweather must be very rich, man. Damn. Look at this. McGregor. Fuck, man, that's crazy. That is insane, dude.
Generating over $600 million in revenue. The Nevada State Athletic Commission announced that Mayweather reportedly earned around $300 million in total from the fight, while McGregor earned around $100 million. And on top of that, Conor was announcing his next big business venture that would generate him even
Proper 12 tastes like shit.
More money than
terrible
Floyd
whiskey,
fight.
dude. Sorry, man.
Introducing Proper Number 12
doesn't
Irish
taste good.
Apple. A delicious blend of my award-winning tasty Proper Number 12 Irish whiskey.
After securing a lifelong fortune and reaching the pinnacle of MMA and boxing, many
and now it all goes downhill, buddy.
Wondered what Conor would do next. Because if he returned to fight in the UFC, there was only one fight that made sense, and that man was
That is the GOAT to me. Sorry, man. That is the GOAT. That guy. It's very interesting to my story how McGregor was my great idol, and then he became my idol. How McGregor was the beginning of Tommykay's career of like talk shit and be crazy, but then Khabib came, who's like, be quiet, be good guy, be humble.
Khabib Nurmagomedov, the undefeated lightweight contender who had a fight style that many felt was
if you understand wrestling a bit, you understand that Khabib is fucking so many years ahead of everyone else.
Too much for Conor to handle. Khabib was the most dominant wrestler the UFC had.
That is a human being that did nothing else than train. This guy trained his entire life every day to kill you. Dude, you just can't do anything against this guy. I used to watch his jiu-jitsu and wrestling videos, and it's super interesting how they practice, and you see why he's so good. He also invented a technique of crossing your legs to disable the legs of your opponent. He was the proponent. I'm really interested in this stuff because I like wrestling and jiu-jitsu. He was kind of like an inventor or one of the great people of doing it. Of a lot of wrestling, American wrestling, is just using your upper body. And he was like, hey, how about we also use our legs in wrestling, right? That was like a big thing back then.
Had ever seen. He mauls his opponents until they are exhausted, then goes in for the submission. Conor is a vicious striker whose weakness is in his ground game and cardio. The result predictions were simple. Either Khabib can't handle Conor's lethal strikes, or Conor can't escape Khabib's dominant wrestling. In the beginning of 2018, Conor was stripped of his other belt, the UFC lightweight title, due to inactivity.
Yeah, you guys remember? He's probably telling us, send location, Moscow, New York, doesn't matter. It was so shocking to me because I was such a Conor fanboy. And then I saw Conor fall apart and take a bus. And then this weird Muslim guy that I didn't like, he's like, what the fuck, send location.
It's been 2 years since his last fight, and
it was like Khabib was the real
Khabib
gangster,
from getting a shot
and
at
Conor
the
was
belt.
just a fake.
Additionally, an unexpected personal rivalry formed between...
Chat, if you ever see a guy with ears like this, don't fuck with them. Little life tip here. If you see a guy with ears like this, don't. Just don't.
The two after Khabib pressed one of Conor's friends, Artem Lopez.
In my fight club, there's a Chechnyan guy with the Muslim beard, and I was wrestling him for 2 minutes. Just no chance, bro. He just fucking like an old man, very slow. He just kills me, dude. They just have wrestling in their blood.
Artem called Khabib a pussy for pulling out from fights a couple of times and said that a true champion fights no matter what, and that he would slap Khabib when he saw him. Khabib and his crew approached Artem, where Khabib slapped Artem multiple times and told him to keep his mouth shut. Conor retaliated on behalf of his friend in the most dangerous way possible.
And that was so unfair. Dude, let's talk about the facts. When Khabib won the fight, he got in a lot of trouble and got banned for a while, right? But Conor is allowed to attack a bus, throwing at the window. There was people getting hurt and there was nothing. It was so unfair. It was really unfair.
Bringing 30 or 40 of his goons to attack a bus that Khabib was on as he was exiting
30
the venue,
people, man.
and throwing a metal
That was the first time I realized Conor's a bitch.
dolly through the window, which injured a different UFC fighter. This bus was jam-packed with other fighters, press, UFC employees that were all caught in the middle of the chaos. Khabib was
also, it's very, very weak to attack a fighter during the weight cut. As you can see, he's going through weight cut. He's very weak right now. Very, very pussy.
Was confused by Conor's antics. He had a very simple way of settling their differences.
I'm gonna come. I'm gonna...
That is the most gangster moment I've ever seen in my life, man. That is a real gangster right here.
Come, just send me message. Of course, they know a lot of security here, media. It's gonna be big, you understand? They come with 30 people. Come here, send me a message, like location, I'm gonna come, whatever you want, doesn't matter, Ireland, New York, Brooklyn or Moscow, doesn't matter. Tell me, where?
A warrant was issued for McGregor's arrest, and he turned himself into the authorities later that day, with charges of assault and criminal mischief being pressed. It ended with a mere slap on the wrist, a $50,000 fine, and the right to travel freely after bail. Dana White described McGregor's actions as the most disgusting thing in UFC's
you didn't
history.
give a shit, man.
Dana, he's going to jail. Most disgusting thing ever happened in the UFC. Also,
It now has been topped. Lately, 2 weeks ago, there was a new controversy where a UFC fighter called Bryce Mitchell said Hitler was a cool guy. I like Hitler.
Let's promo the shit out of this.
2 weeks ago or
Conor
something.
Khabib ASAP, with Conor's whiskey brand being the sponsor. Khabib was hungry for the fight against Conor. His management said he doesn't like the guy, we don't like the guy, we don't like his team, and we don't like what he represents. Khabib was a different type of beast. He didn't care about the hype. He was not interested in talking or...
You couldn't shit talk Khabib because that guy's from the mountains. He lives with goats. This guy doesn't give a fuck. You can't shit talk this guy.
Conor's antics. He just wanted to fight.
We have to make him humble.
You know Conor's in New York right now, right? Like, what happens if the two of you see each other on the street?
Fight.
Fight in the street?
Fight, of course.
Not for money, just to fight?
Of course, we're gonna fight.
Who wins the street fight, you or Conor?
But I never always fight in the street.
No matter where it is, you're gonna...
How many times he tap? His tap machine. You know, if we
Is Bryce Mitchell still in the UFC, chat? Or was he
we're
gone?
gonna meet somewhere, we're gonna fight 100%.
Conor, on the other hand, was the most obnoxious we had ever seen him.
Yeah, he was
which was
so
likely
toxic,
due in part
man.
to the alcohol
That was
consumption.
fucked up.
He
still is?
I'm not underestimating.
I've seen this live. I was a big fan. That was the most toxic shit I've ever seen. It was so dark. It was so bad, man. Dagestan is a nice city. Dagestan is not a city. You mean probably Mashkala. Mashkala.
I don't drink.
Why don't you drink?
I don't drink.
Why don't you drink?
I never drink.
You're mad backwards. Yeah, dead when I get my hands on you, do you hear me?
That was really bad, bro.
Conor was trying to play psychological games with Khabib, insulting his...
Yeah, and he will talk shit about his wife, and he will make fun of his dead dad who died during COVID. That was just... Conor McGregor showed who he really is. Piece of human shit, man. Your wife is a towel mate.
His father, his country, his religion, desperately trying to get a rise out of Khabib.
I never want to take picture with someone. Doesn't matter. It's president.
Are you disrespecting your president Vladimir Putin?
No, why not?
Are you disrespecting your president Vladimir Putin?
No.
Explain what you mean. Are you disrespecting?
Okay, I'm gonna explain. Sit. I'm gonna explain.
Fake rat.
About
fake
picture.
respect out of fear.
Okay,
That's all
about
these
picture.
men are known for. They were chased from the land to the edge of cliffs. My family, my bloodline, the McGregor clan, we stood and we fought. We fought the English Empire. So much so that our name was banished for 100 years by King James at the time.
Okay, why you guys change your language?
Shut your mouth.
You guys have your own language. What's wrong with you?
No matter what type of spectacle Conor tried to make, Khabib's direct, straightforward
you can't
energy
fuck
just
with
made
Khabib, bro.
Conor look foolish.
My clan was banned by the king. Oh, fuck, man.
For me, this is more than defend my title. You know, for me, it's personal. Honestly, for me, it's personal.
Yet, despite Conor's antics, he was clearly the fan favorite, as thousands of boos rained from above anytime.
I was a fan. I was pro Conor. And when I saw Conor got beaten, it hurt me a bit. But I needed that. I needed that as an ego check to be humbled. Khabib humbled me, and I learned a lot about Khabib.
Khabib spoke.
First of all, I want to say, Alhamdulillah, God gave me everything. Alhamdulillah.
Tomorrow night.
You don't like this. Tomorrow night, I'm gonna
smash your boy.
Guys.
The fucking balls, man. He's standing at 10,000 people and he's like, fuck all of you. I'm gonna smash your boy, dude. How cool is that, man? This sport is the best sport in the world. Thank you, Longhorn. It's the best sport, man.
The hype for this fight was unimaginable.
Biggest fight
and the
ever.
UFC had predictions that this was going to be the highest selling pay-per-view of
I
all
don't see this ever being topped. I don't know how that's going to happen. I don't see it right now in the next 10 years.
time. When the two men stepped into the ring at UFC 229,
That was crazy,
there was
dude.
no more time to talk. Conor did press forward in the beginning, but he came in flat-footed, anticipating Khabib's takedowns. He was absolutely mauled in the first 2 rounds, with Khabib nearly TKOing him. Conor was breathing heavy, exhausted, looking like he was regretting every bit of trash talk.
And then the pussy, the moment that ended it all. As if Jones Aspinall's close. Come on, people, wake up. The biggest pussy moment I've ever seen in my life when he says it's just business. That's the moment you fully lost me, bro. That's when you showed who you really
argue
are.
he actually won the 3rd round,
Maybe he's
but it's
showing
only
it?
likely because Khabib was resting. At the end of round 3, Khabib said, "Let's talk now."
The fucking gangster shit on this. Dude, shut up with football and rugby and basketball. This is the biggest sport, man. In the middle of the fight, he's like, let's talk now. Let's talk now. And Conor says, it's only business, man. Don't
and
hurt
Conor
me.
replied, "It's only business," which Khabib interpreted as him waving a white flag,
That is
a sign
weakness.
of weakness,
True
begging
weakness.
and pleading for his life. Ultimately, Khabib decided to finally finish.
Dude, if Khabib puts you in a neck crank, man, dude, you fucking die. There was people saying, wait, that's not a real submission, dude. You don't know anything about jiu-jitsu. When this fucking Russian guy does this to you, you're gonna cry like a bitch.
This thing and submitted Conor via neck crank in the 4th round. He said he would make Conor tap, and that's exactly what he did. Then all hell broke loose.
But she was deserved, I felt like. They attack him, he talks shit about his wife and his dad, and then he attacked. And then, Khabib is such an evil guy. But everything Conor did was fine. It was so unfair.
Habib jumped out of the cage after the bell
And then he became the
attacked
eagle,
Conor's
bro.
team. Then Habib's team jumped in the ring and sucker punched Conor. We
That
knew
was
this fight
crazy,
was personal,
man. That was
but we
crazy.
didn't know it would get this bad. Habib was acting out of character, and his behavior was heavily demonized by the UFC,
fuck off.
resulting in a $2 million fine. Then
Did they fine Conor? Conor had to pay $30,000 for the bus attack. It was so unfair. Almost like a bit racist, man.
again, Conor constantly did the same things,
Yeah.
if not worse, but it was used as promotion.
Yeah.
As Conor arrived back to
Almost
the
a bit
locker
racist.
room, he burst into tears. He didn't just lose, he got absolutely demolished, and he made a fool of himself along the way.
Can you describe emotions after a loss like that? You know,
Thank you, Phil, man.
It's
Thank
real
you.
bad, but this is the fight business. I've been on the end of many defeats in my life, and I've rose back, so I'll not shy away from it. I will not make excuses for it.
But he wasn't humbled. He became a piece of shit afterwards.
I will assess it and come back.
I am gonna make him humble. I am gonna teach him respect. He stood by his words.
That was
Habib,
crazy, man.
The true champ.
That's what I like about MMA. There's people that say something and then they do it. That's so cool, dude.
This fight broke the UFC all-time pay-per-view
Rank
record
one.
at 2.4 million buys, and it's hard to see anything.
Khabib is a multimillionaire and he still lives in the same house, in a random house in the mountains of Dagestan, man. He never really changed his lifestyle. Thank you, Denval.
Topping those numbers anytime soon. If Conor won,
Yeah, can you explain why was Khabib kicked out of a plane? What did Khabib do? I didn't understand that. I saw the video. They're kicking out Khabib out of a plane, but what did Khabib do? I didn't understand that. One sec. I didn't understand. Was it racism? Sorry, what did he do?
Now you guys, because this woman don't
Criticized.
don't understand what she's talking about.
Well, what did he do?
Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're either gonna have you switch your seat because my flight attendants are not allowing you to sit next.
His English wasn't good enough. What? If your English isn't good, you're not allowed to sit next to the escape hatch. What? He can't be sitting next to emergency seat. Because his English is bad. So did they offer him a new seat, or what? Other passengers weren't comfortable with him being at the emergency exit, since his English wasn't perfect. Damn, that's actually kind of racist. That's like legit racism. His English is actually really good. That's fucked up a bit. They offered new seats. That's actually like legit racism. Like legit. But he handled it well. He just stood up and said, fuck all you guys.
Yes, it is.
You guys, when I was not checking, they asked me, do I know it?
Dude, the guy has better English than most English people.
I understand that, but it's also off of their judgment. I'm not gonna
She was very rude.
I will call the supervisor. You can either take a different seat, or we can go ahead and escort you off the plane.
Muslim guy with broken English. His English is actually really good. It's kind of fucked up. Actually, man, dude, the guy isn't even in first class. He's actually doing economic, man.
He could have easily retired and be considered one of the greatest of all time, but he was only 30, and retiring at a loss could not be the end of his legacy, not the illustrious champ, larger-than-life hero image he crafted for himself. But how was he going to compete against other UFC lightweights? Khabib exposed his weaknesses. His cardio was substandard, making him unable to go hard into the 3rd, 4th, and 5th rounds. He was sleeping in silk pajamas and driving Maybachs. Other guys were hungry, begging for a shot, and on top of all of that, he was—
That's the thing with MMA. I'm a big fan. Once you have the championship, a lot of people get weak. This is just kind of human thing. When you achieve your life goals, you start calming down a bit. You have like a life goal, whatever your goal is, chat. And once you reach that goal, the hunger is gone, you know? The hunger is gone.
Focused on developing proper 12, which took his free time away from the gym and into the bar. You can imagine all these destructive thoughts constantly racing through Conor's head while he tried to bury them with bottles of whiskey. Conor took to Twitter to announce he was retiring from MMA. Many were unsure if this was a negotiating tactic or a revelation from his devastating loss. But then, 24 hours later, it was revealed that McGregor came under investigation for sexual assault in Dublin. And although this didn't lead to an arrest, nor did many of his fans believe the allegations were true, this wouldn't be the last time he gets accused of this same deplorable behavior. McGregor was then caught on camera sucker punching an old man in a pub. The story behind the attack was never truly revealed, only assumptions were made by assessing the clip without audio, but there is no justification for a pro—
It was cool though, the old man took the left hand like a champ.
Fighter to
The
sucker
old man
punch
was really
anyone,
fine afterwards,
let alone
man. He
an
took
old
the
man.
legendary left
Conor
hand.
also smacked a man's phone for filming him, then stomping on it until it crumbled to pieces. McGregor was arrested on charges of felony strong-armed robbery and criminal mischief. MMA fighters have spent decades trying to prove—
I think he called his whiskey shit, yeah.
—to the world that their sport is one of honor, class, and grace, and that all fighters are not simply street thugs. It's understandable to put on a character and act like a thug to sell a fight. It's another to actually be one in the streets towards people who are not a real threat. As if it couldn't get any worse, McGregor faced his second sexual assault allegation relating to a complaint that a woman—
That's the saddest part of all, man, dude. You have this beautiful girl, you've been together your whole life, she's giving you kids, and you can't keep your dick in check, man. That's the saddest part.
In her
that
20s
is so sad.
was sexually assaulted in a vehicle parked outside a Dublin pub. Conor's team tried to express that it was nothing more than rumors, but these strings of controversies were starting to seriously impact his reputation. Seemingly in an effort to gain some positive press, he came out of retirement to fight Donald Cerrone. Donald was a journeyman, currently on a 2-fight loss streak at nearly 40 years old. Many saw it as an easy win for Conor to gain back the spotlight, and in the press conferences, he sported a demeanor that we hadn't seen in a long time.
You know, he's become a family man. Obviously, you've seen him compete so many times. It's hard not to respect Donald right now at this stage, and he has my respect. And although there will be blood spilled on January 18th, it will not be bad blood.
UFC 246 was another electrifying Conor McGregor fight, finishing Cerrone by TKO in just 40 seconds. Conor fans thought he was back, as the Irish Beast came out in the post-fight interview taunting
I thought he's
anyone
back.
who
I thought,
dared
but
to
then
fight
that's
him,
happened.
only for him to once again announce his retirement on Twitter. Oddly enough, if he—
And the thing about him, what he taught me a bit, is how cringe he was. He was such a hero, and now he was just cringe. Always tweeting weird drunk ramblings, man. You will just feel sad for the guy. such a downfall. His tweets were so far gone,
He did
man.
retire here. It could have been seen as
He's
a
always
graceful exit,
lying,
a
always
nice
making
comeback
shit up.
victory where he showed class throughout the whole process. But something would draw him back
MMA's
to the
Kanye?
octagon. Conor also finally announced his engagement with his longtime partner, Dee Devlin. She stood by his side through all the highs and lows, from rags to riches, and now they finally felt it was time to tie the knot. And just like the last time he made some surprising life updates, shortly after came accusations. Conor was arrested on suspicion of indecent exposure and attempted sexual assault in France. AFP Sports stated, McGregor was the subject of a hearing by the police, where he vigorously denies any accusations of misconduct. He has been interviewed and released. After an investigation conducted by French authorities, TMZ obtained a document from French prosecutors declaring that they didn't find enough evidence to move forward with a case against McGregor. Whether it be genuine false allegations or his own reckless behavior, he could not escape the negative publicity, and it almost started to look like the UFC acted as therapy or a PR campaign to restore his reputation. McGregor decided to once again enter the cage, this time against Dustin Poirier, and again he came in with a humble, respectful attitude.
After that loss, many years ago, he rose up, became champion. He's given so much back. I'm honored.
He wasn't a
to be in
champion,
this
that's not
octagon
true.
With this man. I know we have this competitive
That's not true.
fire, and it's still there.
Poirier was never
There's still
champion.
You know, denying that we have a clash, and it's going to be a good firework-filled bout. The
Interim is not a
respect
champion, man.
admirable for this man from me.
Don't want to make it seem like we're up here giving each other back massages, but Conor's, I just want to clear the air. Conor's team, McGregor Sports Entertainment, did reach out to my foundation, the donation to the Kid Fight Foundation, and we have huge plans for that. So Conor, man to man,
pleasure, brother, my pleasure.
You're gonna help a lot.
Yeah, what happened afterwards,
Those who didn't
man?
know what was going
That was so fake
on
from
behind
Conor.
the scenes just felt that Conor was being a gentleman. Others like to remind everyone that Khabib said he would humble him, but it was refreshing to see a more subdued and honest McGregor.
Yeah, just wait 10
Unfortunately,
minutes.
it didn't help his competitive edge. Dustin Poirier chipped away at Conor's front leg with brutal calf kicks. This hurt his mobility, stability, which left his face wide open. Dustin let his heavy hands fly and became the first opponent to ever TKO Conor in the
Probably 4 to 30
UFC.
minutes.
This challenged the idea that Conor is one of the best strikers ever in the game, as he just got outstruck. Despite Conor losing the fight, he definitely didn't lose his ability to draw pay-per-views. The Cerrone fight and the Poirier fight still land in UFC's top 5 highest earning fights of all time, so they were still willing to do whatever was in Conor's best interest, and he wanted that rematch with Dustin Poirier, except this time, he was back to his old
was really
ways.
toxic.
boxing that opens up cat.
I get walked like a dog in that octagon on Saturday.
And that was the problem with Conor. The shit talk didn't work anymore. He would always talk shit and back it up. But now he will talk shit and no one believed it anymore. And then it very quickly became cringe.
Your wife is your husband. Joe Lee's wife. Joe Lee's wife. Your little activity.
You used to be a lot better than that, man.
A great focus on the opponent on the scales.
You used to be better.
Kicks this time. Yeah, shut your mouth, you little fool. I'm gonna dance on your head. It's coming for him on Saturday night, and he knows it, and I know, and I'm gonna love doing it.
We knew humble Conor couldn't last long. The trash talk was entertaining, but he pushed things a little too far, bringing Poirier's wife into the banter. Fight fans were more than willing to put up with Conor's cocky attitude.
I was actually very shocked how many people would still stay behind McGregor. McGregor was, at this point, very despicable, piece of shit, and people will still be behind him. Which really showed me, some people out there don't give a shit, man. Like I always say, Trump could kill a puppy on a live video and people will still vote for him. It doesn't matter.
But
they just keep supporting this kind of stuff.
Families was just unnecessary, especially after what happened with Khabib. Plus, he was just being respectful to Dustin a few months ago. What changed? It came across as desperate, and it's these antics that drove away the respect that fight fans once had for Conor, with many of them actually rooting for Dustin to get the W. The rematch against Poirier started off amazing. In the first round, we got to see a mix of boxing, takedowns, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, submission attempts, ground and pound. This was shaking out to be one for the history books. And then, Conor's leg just snapped in half. Dustin Poirier won the fight due to doctor stoppage, and instead of exiting the fight humble, just like his first loss, Conor went on a pathetic, blabbering rant in his post-fight interview with Joe Rogan.
You will show you do it to close the distance. This is not over. If we have to take this outside with him, it's all.
Don't cheer for that. It's just sad.
He said that he believes that one of the kicks that he checked is what broke your leg. There was no check. There was not one of them I checked. Your wife is in me DMs. Hey, baby, hit me back on my check you later on. We'll be at the party. The win no cool, baby.
Conor, your wife is in me DMs. Hey baby. Conor's wife What the F? Disrespecting.
Actually, true story is that the wife of Dustin Poirier was in the DMs of Instagram with Conor McGregor to talk about charity work. That's what she did.
His own fiance while trashing another man's wife, then being carried out in a stretcher. A few years before, nobody would have predicted that this would be Conor McGregor's final moments in the octagon.
Yeah.
Moreover, the message from Poirier's wife was revealed to be nothing more than a message request. She could have been thanking him for previously donating to their charity. All professional fighters have to face the ego-shattering decision to put down the gloves one day. It's clear Conor had multiple opportunities to call it quits, and even he wanted to, but he didn't. Now, Conor is a true warrior, like many UFC
He will probably now fight like Logan Paul or some shit.
fighters. They typically don't run from challenges, but he seems to exist.
And what this entire story really told me, right? I always like to look at the human race and the history of the human race and learn from it. And what you learn in this is be fucking humble. Be humble. If you have some good years, man, no reason to suddenly be a fucking retard, man. Always be humble.
In this destructive
Karma's
limbo
coming
where
for
he
you.
wants to protect and strengthen his legacy as a fighter, but he also has nothing to prove because he is undoubtedly a legend in his own way. The more he steps in the cage, the more it becomes clear that he is declining from his peak, and he is only increasing his chances to get beat up. That is, unless he had some sort of magical substance that could make him bigger and stronger. After some time outside the octagon, fans began to notice Conor's size change, looking drastically different than his former self at different weight classes. Allegations of steroid use began to arise.
And you see the circle.
I'm a big fan of this stuff, right? And and this is not even that super bad. Tom Aspinall had an interview about this. He said, when I'm finally retired from MMA and I don't compete, I will take certain things because they make you age better. You can train more. Like, if you don't, I'm not that educated about this, but Tom Aspinall talked about this, that if you, yeah, Chet, good joke, I know. If there's certain drugs that can help you age better and train more into age and stuff.
Of acne. Like the guy has some acne that may have not been there before, and this bald spot coming in pretty f***ing hot, bro. These are all, telltale androgenic side effects that have, I guess not been apparent on him in the past.
Joe Rogan even suspected he was on gear by saying, looks like his piss would melt that USADA cup. USADA is the organization responsible for overseeing the UFC's anti-doping program, conducting drug testing, and enforcing policies to ensure a fair and clean competition. According to the UFC's anti-doping website, Conor McGregor was not tested during the year of 2022, and Conor basically admitted to using substances in a tweet where he wrote, "Everything was fully disclosed before I began. The state of allowance for athletes to recover from injuries as horrific as the one I overcame must be assessed." Conor was using steroids, but many fans didn't care because he was doing it for injury recovery and he was not fighting competitively. However, it was the other substances he used that seemed to take control over his life. Just take a look at this clip where he cannot finish a sentence, practically speaking gibberish, licking his lips constantly, and has to remove the drink because he admits he can't control himself.
Oh, I didn't have creative control of it, so I wasn't. Really? No, I don't. I'm the creator. I'm the creator, right? So I wasn't necessarily happy with it.
Fuck, man, that's so sad, bro.
I wouldn't change it, bro.
The guy has fucking kids, dude. That's when kids are involved. This is so sad, man. I looked up to this man. Most sober Irish person. It's so fucking sad, dude. But he said it. He said it. If my rise to the top will make me crazy, then I will go crazy.
I would add my magic, and the fact that my adding of the magic wasn't, kind of torn away on when it was not supposed to be. I felt a bit led into it, to be honest. But I'm happy how it went. It is what it is, and onwards we go. It's another one. I four of them now.
Tommy after 16 hours stream.
I felt we had an hour series. It was on RTE. It's the Raffle broadcast series. Then with the 6-part series, and then with the movie, red carpet, cinemas, Netflix. Come here, swap this out. Swap this.
Honestly, though, it was very funny in Roadhouse with Jake Gyllenhaal.
I'm not that strong, lad. I'm a strong lad, but I'm going to train later on, so I want to hold it. And I'm going to drink 10 of them tomorrow.
Anyone give me a thumbs up? Yeah, okay, Paul.
Give me a fresh one, man. Just in case.
He's either had too many beers or too many nose beers, or both. Now, Conor has always been full of energy and excitement, so many of his defenders just believe he is a high testosterone.
And I always think what's important is you learn from this. You need to learn from this. Everything in life is about learning. You gotta learn from this, man. Even if you fucking peak and you do something good in life and you make money, you gotta stay humble, man.
alpha male full of life, whereas others analyze his frequent jaw movements, inability to sit still, twitching, scratching and touching his nose, all as signs of cocaine usage. And considering his brother-in-law is convicted drug dealer and money launderer Graham the Wig Wella, the largest cocaine trafficker in Ireland, makes for a
D. Devlin's brother is the biggest drug dealer in Ireland?
solid argument that Conor has the best plug for that booger sugar.
Jesus.
Conor's love for the party life has gotten him in many questionable situations before. In the beginning of 2023, he faced his third accusation of assault from a woman in Ibiza. According to the report, the woman said she knew McGregor because they were from the same neighborhood in Dublin and had been invited to his birthday party in Ibiza on July 16th. However, when the party moved from a club to McGregor's yacht, the woman alleged that the situation took a violent turn. The woman claimed McGregor began to verbally insult her appearance before he kicked her in the midsection and punched her. The woman told police that she then jumped from the yacht in an attempt to flee McGregor. She was picked up by a Red Cross boat and then taken back to shore. It was as if he was possessed. I knew that I had to get off the boat because I thought he was going to kill me. The situation sounded like something straight out of a horror movie, and it was followed up by his fourth assault allegation. On June 9th, 2023, Conor McGregor attended the Miami Heat basketball game when he was asked to do a boxing skit with the mascot, but Conor proceeded to absolutely level the man with a vicious left hand, nearly knocking him unconscious before he stood over top and delivered another devastating blow. The man in the suit was knocked out and taken to the hospital. That very same night, in the same venue, McGregor was accused of assaulting a woman in the bathroom. According to the alleged victim, McGregor violently forced himself on her in a VIP men's bathroom at KCA Center. She said that
I think he's running for president of Ireland, by the way.
McGregor aggressively kissed her before also attempting to force her into multiple X acts. She then took it one step further, pointing the finger at the Miami Heat and NBA security for aiding McGregor in the attack by separating her from her friend and forcing her into the bathroom. A video was released of the incident where it looks like Conor comes out, holds out his hand, and she grabs his hand as they consensually go into the bathroom surrounded by security. And they were also seen chatting with each other at a party. Conor vehemently denied the allegations. After a thorough investigation, including a review of videos and interviews with eyewitnesses,
well, in America, he could still become president easily.
The authorities have concluded that there is no case to pursue against Conor McGregor. After successfully beating every case,
what I always wonder is, what does D think about this? If you're his wife, how do you keep up with this shit, man?
An allegation. Many
women stay very long. Either women are complicit or women stay long to save the children. Like, you know.
People believe that Conor is just a target
or maybe scared that if she leaves him something bad might happen.
Others looking for a payday. But there is one common denominator with all of these controversies: the party life. Conor has said it himself. If he's not busy, that would be destructive to his life.
I like to be kept busy. It keeps me in check. It keeps me in line. If I was not busy with everything at my disposal, that could potentially be dangerous, you know? That could be catastrophic.
Without fighting in the octagon, Conor keeps himself busy through his business ventures in Proper 12, Forged Irish Stout, McGregor Fast, the MacLife Media Company.
MacLife is very big YouTube channel.
Title Sports Therapy, the list goes on. Unfortunately, his ventures rely on him to just sort of be the face of the company, be social, and be the champ, not necessarily worry about the day-to-day operations, which clearly leads him to late-night celebrations constantly. Conor has 4 children and a fiance. I don't think anyone is expecting him to be a stay-at-home dad, and I don't think anyone is blaming him for wanting to enjoy the fruits of his labor. He earned it, but it seriously seems to be taking a toll on him, which was evident during the promotion of his movie Roadhouse alongside Jake Gyllenhaal.
Jake's a consummate professional, 75 movies made. You know, I'm blessed to have entered in.
Fuck, that is sad. Fuck, that is sad, bro. Mamma mia. One of my biggest idols ever. And look at that now.
Into the movie alongside him. He has 75 movies made. I have 70.
Reminds me of my dad when he was drunk. Thank you, German humor. Now imagine that's your fucking dad. 4 kids, dude. Mamma mia.
It's made. And that's it.
Conor is literally involuntary spasming here from drugs / after come down. I've had this. He definitely just did a huge sesh of hard drugs. Another video of him went viral for his tweaking and twitching.
What can you tell us about your acting debut? Obviously, it's your first experience.
Hard work, but you know, we got it done. It's in the bank for life.
You know, you put something in the bank, maybe it's not going to be there for life. You might spend it. This baby is in there for life, and I'm ecstatic about that.
And it seems like every other day we are seeing a new Conor video where he displays excessive energy, agitation, and having a short attention span.
Well, he said in one of his first interviews, if I go crazy while making it to top, then it's okay.
Oh, you little you're right, you're doing bad conversations, trying to get a boxing match at 155. I grab him by the scruff of the chest and slap the little nose off him, yeah? Little ding-dong of a thing he is, yeah?
Literally Tommy? Come on, man. Come on, chat. Wasn't that Tommy? What do you mean? What's Tommy? What are you talking about? What the fuck's wrong with you? Hey! Oh, come on, man. It's like TommyKay clips.
Floyd, you little you're like, you're doing bad conversations, trying to get a boxing match at 155. I grab him by the scruff of the chest and slap.
I actually do that to the camera. I actually do that, but when someone in chat is a retard, I'm like, fuck you.
A little nose off him, yeah? Little ding-dong of a thing he is, yeah?
Joe Rogan explained what might be Conor's mindset perfectly.
So you've got consistent trauma to your dome over and over and over again. And then you get a little bit of coke, and you're feeling good again. I bet, you know, you get addicted to it. And the guy obviously likes extreme things, right? Which is why he's such a great fighter. They're wild people. That's why John Jones likes too. They're wild people.
Fighters are borderline insane. They crave the energetic, adrenaline-filled lifestyle of nearly dying inside of a cage. It's been well over 3 years.
This is very similar. Bro, I'm gonna fucking kill you, bitch. I'm gonna fucking kill you, man. I'm gonna fucking kill you, man! Shit. I'm doing that without drugs. Oh shit. Oh fuck me. Scheiße, I lost that one, huh? And I'm not even on drugs, bro. Woo.
Years since Conor last fought, and although he was kind of a maniac when he was preparing for his matches, he was a lot more composed than he is now. It seems like he is getting his fix that he used to get from fighting from his indulgent lifestyle, and it may have permanently destroyed his fighting career. His 2024 bout against Michael Chandler was delayed for a year before being officially announced.
I would have loved to see that, but Chandler would have killed him. Chandler would have killed him.
Announced with a card and a date, and then cancelled due to Conor breaking his toe. This has led to theories that the UFC is locking him up in his contract, which requires him to fight 2 more matches, and refusing to let him complete them. But why? We already know he is a guaranteed big money draw, so it can't be that. The only logical explanation is that he has drifted too far down the slopes, that he is unfit or unwilling to stay disciplined and sober throughout an entire 6 to 8 month fight camp. Perhaps he wants to just go on and fight Logan Paul like he announced on Twitter, or fight Manny Pacquiao, or do some other worthless exhibition that will bring in hundreds of millions of dollars and barely forces him to focus on a real training camp. Now it would be—
I personally gave up on him years ago. Just forget him. It was a fun ride, it was good, but it's fucking over.
a terrible business move for the UFC to just go and let him make money for someone else, which leaves him at a standstill, bend to the knee of—
What happens if you don't fulfill the UFC contract? What happens?
Dana White, or never fight again and fill the adrenaline void with this destructive lifestyle. And as if all of this couldn't have gotten any worse, Conor McGregor was found guilty in civil court of sexual assault in the form of R-word. According to the official record, the alleged assailants were Conor McGregor and his friend, James Lawrence. The alleged victim was Nikita Hand. The alleged assault took place in December of 2018 after—
Shut up, chat. I hate that shit. That's fucked up. That's fucked up. Don't fucking even put it in chat. Don't do it. You're fucking gone. No. Press backspace. Press backspace. Okay. Oh, you fucked it up. You fucked it up. You had to do it. You had to do it, buddy. You had to do it, huh?
After Conor's loss to Khabib. In 2019, Nikita Hand tried to pursue a criminal case against the two men, but prosecutors did not bring criminal charges against Conor McGregor. The reason was—
It's so hard that when you get raped to get enough proof, man. It's really hard for these women.
outlined to the jury during the case, claiming that a very high standard of proof would be needed, and things such as reliability and consistency of witnesses, the fact that Miss Hand had no recollection of having sex, the amount of alcohol and drugs she consumed, and her demeanor in the CCTV footage were all factors that led to their decision. Now, criminal cases are kept private, therefore victims remain anonymous, and details of the investigation were not revealed. That changed when Miss Hand decided to pursue Conor in civil court. The purpose of a civil claim is most often to seek monetary compensation for damages done. The trial was very public.
And the saddest thing is, I know there's men like this, there's a lot of people all the time, this bitch just wants money. This bitch is like, this is so weird. Can we like just, like adult human being, look at the case and see what happens? I fucking hate that when there's some kind of rape stuff like with Rammstein and everybody, can't be true. It's just these whores, man. Can't be true, man. Like what kind of fucking thinking is that? Maybe let's prosecute and investigate first before, that is insanity to me when people talk like this.
With members of the press in each courtroom session reporting the details to the...
Does this guy give you a weird feeling of, yeah, he could actually have done that? Does he give you that kind of feeling?
People of Ireland. This trial...
Have you looked at the case? No, I haven't. But very professional Irish judges did and said, yeah, that fucker is proven guilty. Also, not true. Someone chat is saying proven innocent until proven guilty. Why is this applicable to Conor McGregor but not on the other part? Why is it not applicable that these women are not guilty of making fake rape allegations until proven guilty, man? You only use that one way. You don't use it both ways.
Also during their election, to which Conor announced that he intended...
You can't deny it. How many men are getting away with behavior like this? Because not enough belief, because of not enough proof, because no one believes them. Dude, every time there's a rape allegation in the world, all of Twitter goes, can't be true. My boy would never do that, right? He was just having some fun. Fucking terrible, terrible behavior, bro.
Intended on running for office in Ireland, but people were way more invested in Conor's trial than the election. And it was a true he said, she said debate. Miss Hand and McGregor were a part of the same friend group, exchanging messages back and forth on Instagram prior to planning a meetup. McGregor was driven...
fuck, man. Man, you have a wife at home. How is he still with him? 4 kids. 4 kids. That is the worst of it all. You have 4 kids at home. Since I have a son, I'm going to be a bit high and mighty here. I'm going to be a bit arrogant. I'm going to do it. Maybe in 10 years, I'm like this, okay? But to me, when I think about cheating or doing anything against Lisa, right? I feel like if I will do anything against Lisa, I will also, at the same time, do something against my kid. Cheating on my wife and the mother of my children is cheating on my flesh and blood, on my son, on the greatest being ever living, man. That is what's so despicable about this. I fuck that shit. The moment you fuck up your own kids, man, that's when it's levels that are a whole nother level. Thank you, Weekend. If you cheat on the mother of your children, to me, you cheat on your kids too.
Into her hair salon where she worked, where he picked her and Miss Keeley up after 10 a.m. McGregor also admitted during the case that he had cocaine in his car. Bottles of alcohol were ordered to the room shortly after midday, and McGregor's bank card was also used to buy condoms. They both admitted to taking cocaine that night. From there, Miss Hand accused Mr. McGregor of pinning her to a bed and R-wording her. She says the MMA star choked her 3 times before the assault. McGregor claimed they had athletic sex that was consensual.
Oh my God.
Since their stories were polar.
It's so hard to prove this, right? It's so fucking hard, man, right? You never know what the truth is, man. It's a very, very hard topic, this rape stuff and proving it. Very, very hard, man.
Opposite, it seems like
I remember in law school, also it was a big topic of research. How can law and lawmakers and prosecutors and the executive deal with this stuff? It's a big thing that's still being worked on nowadays.
Guilty verdict was made on the basis of forensic evidence. The jury has...
Thank you, Vincent Luc. Merci beaucoup.
Been provided with evidence that Miss Hand was brought by ambulance to the sexual assault treatment unit of Rotunda Hospital around 9:30 a.m. the following day in a terrified state and with extensive bruising all over her body. A general practitioner testified that internal bruising
that guy is walking free, man. That guy is walking
on
around
her neck
free.
Was consistent with Miss Hand's account. There has also been evidence that a tampon was wedged so far inside Miss Hand that it had to be removed with a forceps at the hospital. Conor's defense brought Dr. Farnan as a witness, claiming that bruises would take 24 to 48 hours to come up, and that they also can appear in a slightly different...
That's not true. That's not true. When I do jiu-jitsu, I have my bruise instantly. An hour later. That's not true, right?
Position to the trauma can change in size and shape and can change in color. The doctor...
Dude, imagine you're a lawyer that defends rapists. Like, you know the guy raped, but you're like defending these people. Fuck, man. Fuck. I mean, everyone has a right to defense, right? Everyone has a right, but fuck, dude. Imagine your job is trying to destroy the woman's case, knowing it actually happened.
The doctor also claimed that women having sex with a tampon in is a very common event, or many women forget that they are wearing one. The jury consisted of 8 women and 4 men, who listened to a multi-day long testimony
There's
of
a jury
Nikita
in Ireland?
recounting her horrific experience and Conor defending himself, ultimately finding him guilty of sexual assault and the civil court awarding her damages of nearly 250,000 euros.
I want to show Freya and every other girl and boy that you can stand up for yourself if something happens to you, no matter who the person is, and justice will be served.
After the trial, Conor tweeted, "Nikita Hand, vicious liar, appeal," and then went on to announce plans to appeal the outcome. Without accepting the guilty verdict, McGregor did concede to his infidelity, stating, "I should have never stepped out on the woman I love most in the world. That's all on me. I can't go back and I will move forward. I am beyond grateful to my family, friends, and supporters all over."
And imagine you're the wife of a man and this happens. Like, could you imagine, dude? You're married to a guy and... Sorry, my girl, I have a rape case on my ballsack. We're gonna get through this as a family.
The world who have stayed by my side. 1 month before he tweeted this, a video went viral of him grabbing a woman's hair to dance with her while his fiancée was standing directly next to him, using this as proof that he has gotten so used to the party life and cheating on the mother of his 4 children. And if you thought this was the final straw for Dee, you'd be mistaken. She is still standing by Conor's side. She did not agree with his guilty verdict and wrote in an Instagram story, "Imagine a woman with her own boyfriend and child texting provocative photos of herself to another woman's man with a family and child on the way. I look forward to..."
She might be in like a Stockholm syndrome or some shit.
"To the day the world will see the footage of you on that night and the carry on of you. Not a bother on you having the time of your life. This is the real evidence. My sons will be warned women like you exist in the world." At one point, people felt bad for Dee, sticking by Conor's side while he ruthlessly cheats on her. Now many see her as an enabler and a victim blamer, sticking around for Conor's money since they are not married and she would not be entitled to half.
Ah, they're still not married. Oh.
They separated, as de facto partners are not entitled to much like they are in the USA. If history repeats itself...
Not true though, I'm quite sure under Irish law, which is kind of European law, she will get money for the 4 children. She will get a lot of money there.
I'd imagine...
But it's kind of like her own thing, right? What the fuck?
Conor is dying to get back in the UFC and take the spotlight away from his assault case. Those who hate him make it known that they'd prefer he fade into oblivion. Those who love him question if he should return to fighting in fear that he will only further...
What always is so interesting to me in the human race is that people still stand behind him though. That blows my mind. I think humans are so interesting. I love studying them. That you still stand behind stuff like that.
His crippled reputation. But
it was just some kind of defense mechanism in the brain, like, oh, he could never have done that. There's no way. No, he's my hero.
Even if he never fought again, we all agree that there is no way he will step away from the spotlight. So what will he do after he puts down the gloves? He has been taking the role as the promoter for Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship, as he is an investor in the company. This seems like a natural fit for Conor. Taking on a Dana White-esque position would allow us to still get hilarious sound bites and bring...
I'm a big fan of fighting very much, and I think to me bare knuckle fighting is a joke. It is part of this savage barbarian movement of, for example, the slap competition where they slap each other, which is fucking terrible. It's nothing to do with sports. There's a lot of injuries that aren't needed. I always see on Instagram the slapping competition where people just get fucking concussions, bro. They just concuss each other. It's terribly fucking retarded, man. Very, very dumb.
Some of that chaotic energy to the pre- and post-fight press conferences. But if Conor remains in the entertainment industry, there will be temptation all over. Late nights that lead to drugs, alcohol, and women. Is he capable of suppressing and overcoming his temptation? If not, or worse, if he actually is this monster some people believe him to be, then expect more allegations, more crimes, and eventually doing something that cannot be undone with money. There is no doubt that Conor McGregor holds a unique legacy in the UFC, one that cannot be taken away from him, but it's far from the one that we saw at his peak in 2016, all because he could not win the biggest fight of his life, the fight against himself.
She slipped in my fingers like sand. Heard that she had a man. Now I'm just sitting here sad. Oh well, ship sail. She slipped in my fingers like sand.